Right, Manchester United, Galatasaray got them out of the way. Adam, you were at the game. It must have been great. I wish I was there, and I genuinely mean that.
No, I mean...
Jim Bomb, done
and
ya.
I say, under Erik Ten Hag, I haven't felt so devastated about a defeat. Obviously, we lost the cup final, and you always feel devastated about losing the cup final, especially because it meant City completed part of their treble.
It was understandable, though, wasn't it?
But you lose cup finals, and you're like, all right, at least we were there. You know what I mean?
Up, and you're playing the best team in Europe. But it happens.
I can't quite put my finger on what's going wrong. Like, in the summer, we approached this season, lots of positivity. Last season, we had our moments where we lost games and we got hammered, in a few games here and there. But generally speaking, it was a club moving in the right direction. Erik Ten Hag was getting a grip of things. And you could kind of point out 3 or 4 positions where we needed to improve in and go, right, if we address those positions, this team should be getting better. We got Champions League football. We got a trophy in our first season. Happy days. And you kind of approach this season thinking, right, we've sorted this, like we've got a few players in. All right, they didn't come in as quickly as we would have hoped. Amrabat should have signed earlier. Onana came in at the right time. Sorry, Mount came in, but he was injured. There were a few things that could have been better. Hoyland came in, was injured.
You got to talk about the result, man. There's no context here. You've been done by Galatasaray.
I'm on about the big. There's a big. Yeah. And I'm on about, as coming into this season, it felt like we were approaching a season where add a few things and we start to improve. And now you look at the team, and like against Spurs, against Arsenal, you can go turning points, moments, decisions. They're big games. That's what they rely on, those games. But then you look at the other the results against Brighton, against Palace, even against Forest, against Wolves. You're looking at some of the performances out there, and you're thinking, what is going on? Yeah, because you're seeing a team at the minute that have gone from, right, if you get a midfielder, you get a goalkeeper, they're all going to be fine and everyone's going to be dandy. And then you go, hold on.
Do you want the chance to win £250,000 in this weekend's Premier League fixtures? All you have to do is correctly predict 6 results. And obviously one of them is a massive game, Arsenal versus Man City, Premier League title decider. Whatever your opinion is on the game, if you just type that into Super 6, you get the opportunity to win £250,000. If you come top of our mini league, Club 23, on the app, you get a chance as well to win £100 at classic football shirts. That's an unbelievable deal.
Like, most of these players were fine last season. So what's you're watching. I think that's the
proof is right there. You've said fine because a lot of Man United fans, maybe you're not part of the issue in that regard, said that you had an exceptional season getting to the FA Cup. I thought last season was really, really average, and I think you covered over a load of cracks. The FA Cup final, getting there, of course, but you lost some of the biggest losses in Premier League history in terms of the Liverpool result, Brentford 4, Brighton. So I think Ten Hag did a decent job. But United fans started the season thinking he had done an exceptional job.
What we need to get to the bottom of on this video is Manchester United, what's going wrong. So we know that there's context, we know that Ten Hag, but at the moment Ten Hag's getting it wrong, isn't he? Like, it's all very well to say, I back Ten Hag. No, but he specifically... Look, the other day,
we're in a weird position at the moment.
When Mason Mount went off, the other day, Mason Mount went off and Marcus Rashford went off. And you think, okay, fair enough. Neither of them were playing well enough and he took them both off. And that made sense at the time. I backed it. Not if you're going to then bring on Harry Maguire and stick him up front and then bring on Donny van der Beek, a man who they decided wasn't good enough to be in their Champions League squad. I think they're errors for the manager.
Though, if you look at that and the reason why Donny van der Beek's coming on and the reason why Harry Maguire or Johnny Evans are coming on, it's because of the injuries. And I've tried not to talk about injuries because everyone suffers injuries, but injuries have been an issue. The injuries are why Amrabat's playing at left back, is because all 3 of our left backs, including the injured, the emergency left back in Reguilon, are injured. Like, we've constantly chop and changed our back four. This is why I'm not panicking about Andre Onana yet. He's made 2 big errors. He's cost us 2 Champions League games, 4, in my opinion. But he's cost us 2 games. Right. Like, cost us 2 games, Bayern Munich and this one. Yeah. It's cost us all games because you can say, all right, they didn't score the penalty, but you got the man sent off. And you tossed one in against Bayern Munich. But if you look at the defence in front of him, the amount of different defensive units we've had. At one point, we've had Maguire, Evans, Lindelof, and Wan-Bissaka. Then we've had Delot, Lindelof, Varane, and Amrabat. Like, it's constantly a different.
But they should be able to be coached individually.
No, but it's constantly a different back four with a midfielder playing at left back, with a centre back playing at full back.
That's not ideal.
It's constantly different. It's constantly.
Are you
changing.
Convinced still that Erik Ten Hag is the right man for the job? Or are you beginning to question?
Look, let me start by saying I think he's made some mistakes. I think tactically at the moment we're in a weird position. He's spoken about wanting us to be the best transition team in the country, which means playing on the break, playing in quick movements and playing that. But at the moment, what it seems to be is just carnage, chaos. Because we're trying to constantly play on the transition, we're always in transition if you get it, and therefore there's always these holes you can pick out in the team. One pass, if they beat our press, we've had it because there's a massive hole at the back. And I feel like that's because we're trying to play in transition. Sometimes you just need to control things a little bit. We went 1-0 up, we can see the goal immediately. We go 2-1 up, we can see the goal immediately. You know, at 2-2, like you can blame being down to 10 men, but us in Liverpool go to Spurs with 9 men and nearly win the fucking game. Like you can still defensively control things down to 10 men. Like you shouldn't be open defensively. It's an excuse for not scoring if you go down to 10 men. But I just feel at the moment we're caught in two ways of playing.
Are you
There's
in
no
crisis?
control.
Do you think it's
no
now? Is it
transition.
now a crisis? What is it? 10 games this season, 6 defeats, 60% of the games you've lost.
I don't think it's a crisis. But the manager needs to get some results.
But
He needs to get control of it ASAP.
You know, if you think of things that look like
a few more bad
crisis.
results, and actually, you know what? The club is in crisis because you look at it on and off the pitch, and you go off the pitch. The owners don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, true, but
They don't know what to do.
true,
They've
but
been
Ten
selling
Hag
the club for a year.
Ten Hag has players capable. Look,
The buck has to stop with
I
Ten
could
Hag
say
now.
this. I'm going to give you the same stick that I give to myself, right, and play by the same rules. When Chelsea lose to Forest at home, I don't like our owners, but it's Pochettino.
No, of course. I'm not. But I'm on about. If you look at the structure he come from, like even if you go back to our signings, then all right. IFFP issues meant we had to sign Amrabat late on loan. He should have come in much earlier.
Right, but you still signed Mason
you know what
Mount.
I mean?
You still signed his goalie.
He
You
should
still
have come
signed a
in
centre
much
forward.
earlier.
Yeah, okay, he came in late, but
Like,
It's 200 mil, mate. It's 200 mil.
financially.
It's 400 mil of investment the last 2 years. He's had 400 million quid of investment.
We've
That's
also
not
had a lot
chump
go out. Before he came in, we lost 7 or 8 players.
yeah,
Look,
yeah, a lot of
we
them-
should have beaten
a lot of them
Brighton.
are
We
rubbish.
should have
A lot
beaten
of them are
Palace,
rubbish anyway, and you'd
we
admit
should
a
have
lot of them
beaten
are rubbish.
Galatasaray without that.
Yeah, of course.
Look, of course we should have. But you do start looking. All right, why? We've had an unsettled back line. We've had a team. Bruno's constantly in different positions, right wing, centre. Like,
But that's the
how are you
manager.
supposed
That's
to-
the manager's
Again,
influence
but
isn't
it's
enough.
also-
He's not influencing
But
good
it also comes
performances
down to
out of
availability.
Marcus
Who are
Rashford's
players
just
there?
been put on a beautiful
Rashford just had his best ever season last season.
but
so let's not.
I'm
so
allowed
let's
to-
not start
yeah, but
blaming
he's
the
had-
manager.
and he's had his- and he's had his
Mate, I'm
worst-
allowed
he's
to-
had his worst
Mate,
start
he
to the
scored
season ever
one
as well.
goal.
He starts
Mate,
bad
he
every
scored-
season.
Bro, he scored one goal in 10 or whatever it is.
And he's
It's
looking very
awful.
But my point is, you
His
can't go.
first touch is
he's been really bad when he had his best season under him.
Yeah,
He's looking so
I
disinterested
can
at the moment.
sit here and say
That's
last
down to
season
him.
he was. All right, last season was he good? I can
That's
sit here and
down
say
to
yes, he was.
Rashford's
This
got in his
season,
own
bro.
head.
The reality, bro. You have to take your Man United hat off sometimes. Just
Well, I
say.
can't if I'm discussing my team.
Well, you can just say, as a football fan, has Rashford been good this season?
No, I didn't
Despite
say
being
did I
great
say
last season.
Did I say he's been good this season?
No, exactly. And my
So
point
what the
was,
hell are you arguing here?
My point in the argument is
My
that he's been
argument
terrible this
was-
season. Rashford's been terrible this season. One goal scored in all
You've
competitions.
taken an hour to make that point that I agree
It's not.
with
It's
you
not.
on.
It's been less. It's less than 60 seconds. So,
I agree
but
with you
I
on
made
that
the
point. I
point,
don't
and
know
you
why you're
disagree with
arguing
it.
with me
You
here.
disagree with my point.
I didn't.
I said Rashford's been terrible this season.
I didn't
That's the
disagree
thing that
with
Man
that
United
point.
fans are afraid to say.
You don't know what you're talking about because at the moment you
Why?
started this thing off blaming Ten Hag,
Yeah.
and I went, hold on, you can't blame Ten Hag when
Yeah.
Rashford had his best season ever last season, and then you've gone. Why are you trying to tell me Rashford hasn't had a bad season? Yeah, I've literally just fucking told you
it can be both. That one of your best players last season's underperforming and the manager's underperforming.
Yeah, the
and a
manager
load
is
of other.
underperforming.
Exactly.
But
they're not mutually
the answer-
exclusive. You
the
can have
answer
a
to
player
this-
being bad and a manager
I
being
tell you
bad.
now as well that people talk about the culture potentially changing and this, that, and the other. The answer isn't sacking this guy, and I'm glad at the moment most of the talk isn't about it because for me. Mate, if we sat there, I can't even be arsed with a new manager and all this, this new hope and fuck all that. I can't be arsed, bro. If this guy ain't going to do it, we've signed the right guy. We've given him some awful structure in the club and the thing. Who else is going to do it? Like, we've had Mourinho and all these geezers, man. Just
like the
stick with
Chelsea
this
situation.
guy.
It's almost
Just
like if you
stick
sack
with him.
Poch after the
we
bad
have
start.
to back this guy, and we have to show the dressing room, and we have to show everyone within this club he's the manager. That's what Arsenal did.
What if he loses the next
They went
two?
through bad
What if he
times.
loses
They
the next
finished
two?
eighth.
They've got very winnable fixtures as well.
We thought
Going into-
Galatasaray and Palace will win.
Going into the Manchester derby, no, but it's like it's Brentford and Burnley, isn't it? Like it's very winnable.
Yeah, very winnable.
The only problem is those games have a completely different complexion now because if you lose those games now, going into the Manchester derby,
But he always tends to get away with just enough. I mean, the League Cup performance was solid.
No, man, because I'm not having that,
silver.
I'm not having people saying he just did enough or he was just average last season. Bro, not one of you guys would have predicted us finishing the top 4. In fact, everyone predicted us
I
to
think
finish
it's,
fifth or
I think it's
sixth.
undeniable.
He did
that
an
had a good
incredible
season
job
last year. It's
This
undeniable.
season, he's
This
had
season,
a
he's
horrible
making a
start.
picture of it.
Yeah.
A
And it's all
horrible
very well
start.
talking about how good he was last year, but he's half making some
He
terrible
has to grab
decisions now.
control. He has to grab control and show his boss, I think, and get confident in your decisions. The moment it just feels like it's just, I don't know what's going on. I can't explain. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because you come into it and you're like, what the fuck?
I think if you asked a football fan around the world, would you take Ten Hag to manage Real Madrid, Barcelona? I don't think they would.
They would have before they've seen him at Man United.
Maybe.
And that's Man United's fault. Trust me, it's Man United to blame.
Yeah, yeah.
You see, with,
Big issues,
with
actually.
Chelsea, Potter goes there. He don't have a fucking clue what he's doing.
That is true. Yeah.
Like because of the
He's a
ball-
clueless man.
No, but like if we pulled De Zerbi out of Brighton and put him in Chelsea or United now, promise you, results
Do you
go
think it'd be the
west.
same? That's interesting.
They go
yeah.
Fred West. That's how West they go.
Also, I don't think it's true that Ten Hag just sort of gets one of those bigger jobs before Man United, because if he would have done, he would have gone there.
No, he
I'm
was
not saying
linked
that,
with
but I'm not
he was
saying
linked
he
with
would've.
he was linked with a lot of places.
Not linked with-
Bayern
yeah,
Munich, City.
But
Yes, he was.
if he
bruv.
would have actually got
When was
it,
he linked with City?
if he would have actually got
If
those
Pep
jobs,
left,
you don't take
he
the
would have
Man
been one of the
United.
first names you're looking at. I promise you. And you know what? He would have gone there and teared it up because City have the recruitment fingers in place. It's not.
No, man.
It's not Ten Hag doing all the.
Do you know what? Do you know where it all changed for me? Maguire up front. I just,
Nah, Maguire needs to
like
do
that's
that.
when Stuart Pearce put David James up front.
And we were fighting for Europa
seen-
League, by the way. That was a real.
I've
That
seen
wasn't a
managers
joke
do
game.
that last
That wasn't a
night.
joke game. We were trying to get into European positions.
Again, though, it's like,
It's Middlesbrough.
bruv, we're down to the bare bones, man. But you got to get results. That's ultimate. Like if you're a Manchester United manager, you live and die by your results. You know what I mean?
Yep.
No excuses.